Hi and welcome back to my channel, and today we'll be building a full stack application based on a user management system. So let's get into it. So this project will be divided into three major parts. First is the backend, the front end, and other required tools. The backend will cover Node.js and Express. The front end will be simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And the tools will be Git, GitHub, Postman, and a simple terminal. So let's get into it. So the first task we'll be performing is to install essential tools and libraries. So first we'll install Node.js. So head on to the official website, download the LTS version, install it, and click on next. Do the necessary things and finish it. And next, to confirm the installation, what you'll do is I'll simply open VS Code. You need to have VS Code installed on your system as well. I'll simply head on to the terminal. I'll make a new file. Okay. Let's make a new folder over here. I'll name it as full stack user management app. Let's select this folder. Now I'll simply head on to the terminal of VS Code, and here to check if your Node and npm are installed and configured in your system, you simply need to type node-v. Here you'll get the version of your node. Next you need to type npm-v. This will give you your npm's version. You also need to have VS Code installed. I mentioned that beforehand. And you also need to have Git installed in your system. Very important. So just head on to the official website, install it, and use all the default options. And once that's done, you need to check its version. We'll simply type git hyphen version. This will give your Git's version. Nextly, what you need to do is head on to your GitHub. Okay. Create a new repository. Name it as full stack user management app. Then keep it as public and don't add a readme to it. Create the repository. Okay, so here you'll notice we have a URL here. This is what we need in the later part of this practical. So let's head on to VS Code. Now what we'll do is we'll initialize Git to this project. Okay, and then we'll check its status. Okay, now let's connect it to our GitHub. Git remote, add origin, and now let's head on to the GitHub. I'll simply copy this, I'll paste it. Okay, so now you'll see that a remote origin has been created and my application has been connected to GitHub. Now We'll work on the backend part of this application. So you need to know some basic Linux commands for this. So I'll type mkdir. This is the command to create a directory. Mkdir backend. This created me a directory called backend inside my full stack application. And then let's do cd. Cd stands for change directory. So if I need to go inside this folder called backend, I need to do cd backend. Here you'll see that I am inside my backend file. Next, type npm init -y. Now we need to notice, once we do this, we have a package.json file automatically created for us. Next, we'll install npm install express. This will install express in our system. So you can observe that node modules have been imported and packagelog.json has been created. So additionally, I also want to install cors. So I'll just search for the command here. Okay, so I need to type npm install cors. Let's run this through. Let's check our package.json. Yeah, it looks good. Check your package lock. This is a very, very, very big file. So no need to get into the details of this. Just remember, the next step is to create a file inside the backend folder, not inside the full stack application UMP, but the backend. So I'll name this as index.js. So this index.js will consist all the required things necessary for my Express server. So I'll simply copy paste the code, will not get into the coding details and the other stuff. So I'll just copy paste it real quick. Just go through the entire code for once. I'll give you some time. This entire code is also available on my GitHub, so you can check it out. So basically, what we need to notice here is that if the server is running on the given port, it will display API is running ... And next we can see that we have multiple options that are functionalities of our application. So we can create a user, we can read users, we can update the user, and we can delete the user. Okay. And if there is any error, it will show user not found and a 404 error. And you need to observe that you will get a message that your server is running on this port, whichever port you're using or whichever port is available. So to run this file, you don't have to go to like your live server or anything. What you need to simply do is type a command. To run backend files, we use Node and type index.js. That is the file's name. Hit enter. Now you can see that the server is running on port 3001. Let's follow it. Yes, we get the message API is running. So our backend is tested. Now let's move on to the next part. Let's open Postman. I'll cancel everything I've done before. Okay, so when you start it, it looks something like this, entirely blank. So you just need to understand what we're going to do with Postman. So we need to post users to our backend. So I'll select this as post. You need to enter your URL. So what is the URL? Go on to your browser. This is your URL. Head on to Postman. And you need to simply type users. So why do we use users? So here we have created a route. I'll quickly show you this. So through this, it will directly go to users. So that's why you need to specifically mention that this is user. Click on body, click on raw, and also select it as JSON. So let's try this. This is the JSON format. Simply click on send. Here you will get a green status 201 created. And here you can observe that the ID is 1, name is this, email is this. Okay. Let's go on to a browser. So this has been successfully posted. We'll later on figure out what we actually did. Now let's focus on the front end. It's preferred that you create a new one, a new terminal. I'll show you the directories we currently have. So ls is for listing directories. So we have backend. Now we need to create our front end. Front end is created. We need to get inside that front end. CD here you can see we're into the front end. Well, we need to create 3 files inside front end. Let's close the backend for now. You can manually create it or you can create it using touch command. Here I prefer doing it manually itself. So you need to create index dot html. Next you need to create style dot css. And lastly, we need to create script.js. Okay. So let's start with index.html. As I said, we're just going to copy paste the entire code. So bear with me. Okay. Go through this real quick. Simple. Title is user app. We have header, user list. We have placeholders and stuff like that. And you need to mention your script.js. Let's move on to styling. Very basic minimal styling. I'll again copy paste it. Basic coloring, padding, everything. Next, we'll head to script.js. I'll copy paste it again. I quickly observe the entire code. Your port number should match. So here in index.js, we have mentioned the port as 3001. Quickly show you what we did. So here the port is 3001. So even here, you need to make sure your port number for backend and frontend is the same. So just go through all the functionalities of this JS real quick. Okay. So we'll make a very minor change in our HTML. Here I forgot to add the delete button. I'll just quickly change this to, okay. Yeah, that should be enough. Now let's look into our terminal. This was for the backend and the bottom one is for the front end. So now we need to run our front end. So using live server, you can run your front end. Let's check it out. Yep. And our, okay, there is some error here. Not actually an error, but something that is messed up in the code. I'll quickly see it. Yep, rookie mistake. I'll just write it here. Let's head on to the browser. I didn't have to refresh it. It got corrected real time. So ignore whatever I've written here. I'll simply write my name. I'll provide my email. Let's add the user. And here you can see we posted something called Mao and the email as mao@gmail.com. And here you can observe we had posted this using Postman and not actually the interface. So if I simply change this, I'll write it as uh, I don't know, grow. And now if I post it, here you can observe this is ID number 3. Interesting thing, because first was Mao, then I added my own user ID, and next we have posted something called crow. So let's observe by adding some random thing. We'll add it, and here you can see crow is at number 3 and the ID for it is 3. Okay, interesting. And then we added this thing. Okay, this functionality is actually wrong. I need to correct this. So we actually are deleting the users from here. So you don't need an additional user button here. Okay, I'll just simply remove this line of code. Rookie mistake, but yeah. Okay. So this information is gone. Okay. Let's see if Postman has this information. So let's simply make a change. Instead of post, we'll type it as get. Here you will see all your IDs and name and email are also saved in Postman. Let's head on to this. We'll simply refresh it. Let's try adding something else. Okay, I'll type it as taco at the rate yahoo.com. I'll add the user. Done. This was our first one. Then we added my name. Then we added Crow. Then we added Ichiraku. Then lastly, we added Taco Bell. Here you can again hit send. And in real time, you can see the 5th one has been added. That is Taco Bell. Very random names and emails. Bear with me. Let's see if the delete button works. It does. You can delete it from here. Let's head on to Postman. Send it again. The bottom 2 were automatically deleted. So to conclude, what we've learned in this practical is that we've learned how to use Node.js and Express. We've used REST API to conduct CRUD operations, that is create, read, update, and delete. We've seen basic terminal commands. We've seen how Git and GitHub works. We've built a simple front end using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we've used Postman to fetch API. To conclude, we've actually built a working application with both front end and back end. So Good luck with creating your own front-end and back-end applications or your full-stack applications. You'll remember we had created a GitHub repository. So how do we push our code from VS Code to our repository present in GitHub? So let's see. Let's head on to VS Code and we're going to push it via our terminal. Let's create a new terminal. So remember, you have to push the entire code, your entire front end and back end. So you need to ensure that you're not present in the backend or the front end directly. You need to be present in your project, that is full stack, whatever the name is. You need to be present in that directory. So simply type the command git init, then type. Remember, we had already established the connection, so simply type git remote hyphen v. Yeah, we have a connection established already. So what you need to do is simply type the command git push u origin main. Okay, there seems to be some kind of error. Okay, let's fix this. I'll first check which branch I'm on. I'll type git branch. Okay, so this doesn't like show anything, so I'll just type this. I'll create a commit. So we actually need to do this twice. Okay, so after all this, you need to type the command. We'll push it to the main branch. Okay. Next, you need to type the code to actually push it. Let's see if our error is solved now. Okay. Yeah. Let's head on to GitHub. I'll refresh it. And yeah, your code is successfully shifted from your local working environment to your GitHub. And we did this through our terminal and using Git. You need to actually understand the architecture going behind it. So you can do that using your theory knowledge. Yeah, so here you'll see your backend file. It has index.js. Then we have our front end. It has index.html, script.js, and your style. And now, additionally, what you can do is you can add a readme. So here I'll simply add it as full stack user management app, commit changes, and yeah, whatever you write in your readme will be displayed in the below section. JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Yeah. So now we're actually done with the entire thing. Enjoy your web application creation journey and your full stack journey. Thank you.